Tara, it's such a pleasure to welcome you.
Thank you.
You work for one of the most well-known names across the world, World Bank. Do a lot of good work across the world. Interesting, your work focuses on education.
That's right.
And how to improve the education systems around the world. It's a very multifaceted work. But I'll take you straight to India and your efforts in trying to look at STEM and engineering in particular. You said we're trying to focus. So I want to learn from you, your work in that particular area.
Yes. So the World Bank has been working in India with the Indian government on the Technical Education Quality Improvement Project for almost 15 years now. It's the third phase of the project. This is the bank's longest standing commitment in higher education across the world. And the main underlying principles for the project have been select institutes on the basis of merit. So they prepare proposals and you select them on the basis of that. Work with state governments to work out a set of criteria that state governments will help meet, such as having the board of governors be free from political or bureaucratic interference, helping colleges get autonomy, helping them with internal governance related work, even if it means just staying out of it. So those kinds of things, those have been the underlying principles of TechIP. So reward merit and work on governance. And once you do those kinds of things, you're able to work with changing teaching learning practices, with curriculum, with examination systems, with research, with student learning, and ultimately what students do after they've left the college. So that's been the theme of TechIP. And just for perspective, TechIP works in nearly all the states of the country. So it's a central government-led project. It's a central sector scheme, the third phase of it. And with MHRD and state governments, it covers a very large number of states and students.
For all of us, World Bank gives loans for various purposes. I'm trying to learn two things. One is the accountability factor. Second is when you do give money, what other resources come with it? Do you help them tie up with other good schools, other good teaching resources? I mean, if you're trying to help them enhance the education system, I mean, not all of them are equipped with those resources. The resources have to be connected and provided for. So it's good to learn what and if any you provide.
Okay, so let me take those questions in reverse order. The World Bank does work very closely with the Government of India in designing the project. And so that means understanding how to bring various resources to the table, various non-financial resources to the table. So one of the things that we have done, for instance, in our initial phase of the work on governance, we brought experts from across the world and India, people who led industry in India, as well as consultants from the UK and from Australia who had experience of working in governing boards to help colleges design a program on good governance. So, good governance is really key to what happens in a college, to understand what a principal can do, to understand what the board of governors can do, to think of the vision for the institute and to work out a plan to actually implement it. So we brought those resources in. The second thing that we wanted to do was we have excellent resources within the country, in the IITs, in the IIMs. So we have been able to leverage with the Government of India 8 IITs who have knowledge incubation centers where they work with a number of other colleges, engineering colleges that are funded through the project. So the IITs aren't in that sense funded through the project. They are sort of implementing agencies with them, with MHRD. And they have really done fantastic work across the board in terms of the passion that they bring, in terms of the opportunities that they give these colleges. They help with they have winter schools for their students. They go there, they work with faculty. And then the IIMs have been working more on the governance end of it. How do higher education governance is not discussed much, at least institutional governance, but the IIMs have a program to help administrators. Okay. So that's sort of been the kind of resources that we bring. And last but not the least, we don't have a culture of measuring learning in our institutes. We have a culture of examinations and testing, but we don't have a culture of measuring learning. So one of the things that the World Bank has done with the Government of India's support is to have India participate in this international study on trying to understand how much do engineering students come with when they join school, when they join colleges, and how much do they learn over a period of time, and what are the key factors that affect that learning chart. So I would say the World Bank brought that, and MHRD, the government, was very open to including that in the project. And so that's been something that we're also doing. So that kind of thing, so on the input and process end, but also on trying to measure how the project is doing. Coming back to your question, accountability, we do have implementation support missions with the government where we visit colleges, where we look at the data, and we look at these data very closely to see what's going on and what isn't. In the case of TechIP, we have a very good implementing agency as well that does this all the time. They are with the colleges, they know what's happening inside them. And then we've tried to put in various systems. Our MIS system, for instance, will let you catch things if they're not working out. We're also increasingly linking funding to results. So I think things have been changing and improving quite a bit.
Finally, I want to bring your attention to your research that you did. I want to learn from you the findings of the research because it was across the countries.
Absolutely. So the key issue is that there is a learning crisis in the world. And this learning crisis exists across countries, including middle-income countries, including high-income countries. And the basic argument here is that, schools are not really working for students. They're not helping students learn. And systems, education systems, political systems are not helping schools function. And in a nutshell, what we try to argue is that everybody is interested in good education and in learning, but it's not their main and primary interest. And interests are just not aligned towards making the system work. And for things to change, you have to align everybody's interests, not just teachers, principals, and students, politicians, bureaucrats, civil society. They all have to really think about learning. And there are many steps in that. The first step, of course, is to get a sense of learning, to understand and measure learning.
Okay. Well, it's great, and thank you for coming, and thank you for sharing your views. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Mateen. Lovely.